Welcome into the era of AI. Hello and welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to cover Canva filters. So there are a couple of Canva filters hack that not many people know about, and this is the reason why I have to teach you this in this video. Notice that on the left side, we have a picture of a guy in a background. That is how the picture is. I've added a couple of edits, but on the right side, you can see we changed the entire background without changing the picture of the person. On the contrary, we have edited the picture of the person and also edited the background. How this is done is not really difficult. And also there is a pretty good trick, which is this one, adding a shadow behind a person, making it seem like that person is in a shadow or in a place where there's light and there's a wall behind them. How you do that is also going to be covered in this lecture. So without further ado, let's jump straight to it. So here we are inside of Canva. I'm going to go ahead and basically look for an image of a woman. And we're going to use this picture. So I'm going to go to photos. There's a lot of photos. Let's take a professional photo that we can use. So for example, say that you want to use this picture right here. If I were to click on this picture, you can see we have a lady over here. Now what I could do is I could set the image to the background and I could double click just to make sure I push the image in the center so that I can have more control over it. And now what you can do as well, you can edit this image, and there is such a thing called the adjustment filter. If you click on adjust, something that not a lot of people pay attention to is that you can click right here on this option and you can edit either the whole image, the foreground, or the background. So you don't necessarily only have to edit the whole image. You can edit the foreground and the background separately. So say that you want to edit the background. If you click background right now, any editing you do is going to impact the background only. Say that you want to change the background color, you can just pick the tint and move it from side to side to find the color you want to change it to. You can also play with the temperature. The temperature also impacts the color. And you can see now we went from a background to a background without impacting the color of the person. Now, if I click here on the foreground now, switch to the foreground, I could go ahead and play with the elements such as contrast, highlights, shadows. I could also play with the brightness, with the shadows here as well. I could also play with the vibrance of the image. And you can even make it into a black and white image if you so want to do so. Now I could just play a little bit with it, add some saturation over there, some sharpness and some clarity, and that is pretty much that. Now, of course, if I go back now to the background, you can see changes are saved, but I want to show you something about the background as well. Now here, you can also edit the background by adding some brightness to it if you so want to, some contrast and so on and so forth. I would actually recommend against that. Now, this is the first thing you can do, but there is another way to edit this. So for instance, I'm going to delete this image because I have used it. Now let's use a different image. Now let's say, for example, our image is this. Now there is a tool inside of Canva, which is the Canva BG remover or background remover. If you click edit image right here, you will find the background removal option, and it's a pro option. How about if you tell me, well, we want a free option? Yes, there is a free option. We have mentioned it at the beginning of the course. It's called remove.bg. You can go there to find it out. If you also want to use another free option, there's the Canva app or apps. If you click right here on apps, you can go ahead and search for background eraser, and you'll find this background eraser tool. And now all you need to do is to choose a file from your computer. And basically, you can use this to remove a background. So for example, I can pick one of the images I have, remove the background, and it will automatically put him next to this lady right over here with his background removed, or background removed, yes. And you can see how it works. Now, it doesn't work as great as the original Canva BG remover. Otherwise, they wouldn't have allowed it to be for free. It still has some limitations, so it wouldn't remove the background smoothly from all pictures, but for simple pictures like these, you can trust it will do a pretty good job. Now, of course, if I actually were to make this bigger, now I can make it cover more space, and now coming down to the point. Now, first of all, go ahead and get to edit the image and go to the adjustment features and try to auto adjust if you want to. Auto adjust is one of the best because it adjusts the picture for you, done for you. And once you've done so, you can also go over here and duplicate. Now we have two of her. And this is what's going to allow us to create our shadow. So the second picture, we're going to take it, and I want you to go and edit the image. Notice here there's this feature called Duotone. I would like you to click on Duotone and go to any one of these duotones. I'm going to pick custom, and I want you to go to this highlights color, turn it black, and now it's completely dark, and you can exit. And now go to the blur option and try to blur this out to make it seem like a shadow, just like this. And we can exit as well. Now we have a shadow, which we can also go and decrease in intensity of or from. And you can take this shadow and place it wherever you want. I'm going to place it, position it to back. And now it looks like there's a shadow behind. You could also click on the background itself and go to the color option and choose a different background color for the background. And now there you have it. You have a pretty simple design which we have created from scratch. And you can see that Canva also suggests the colors used in the picture just so that you can create something interesting. Okay? Now, as you can see, this is the trick. Now, this trick doesn't just extend like this because we can do magnificent stuff with it. So, for example, if you go to create a design, let me show you just one of the tricks you can do. You can go to create a design and go for a custom size. This time around, I'm going to pick a size in inches, and it's going to be 16 by 9 inches, right? So 16 by 9 inches is the size that we're going to go for. And now I want to show you that you can do some interesting things inside of Canva with this particular newly found knowledge right now. So say that you want to create a picture from scratch of, let's just say, two people in a garden, even though they might not be in a garden in the first place. So we can go to elements right here in Canva, and you can go and look for man, and you can look for another picture of a woman, and we can use both pictures. I'll show you how. So for instance here, I could go to photos. Well, I could search for man standing instead of just man. And now it's looking for man standing pictures, and I can go to photos, and I could take one of these pictures. So for example, I could take this particular picture right over here. It has a transparent background, but I think I'm going to have to switch it with something else, maybe like this. Okay. Now, if you have the picture, you can go and look for another picture. Let's say woman standing this time. And if you do so, you'll find a couple of pictures of a woman standing, and hopefully we can find something with a transparent background. Otherwise, we can just simply do our own. Now, to make this seem a little bit more realistic, we can just try to reduce this down to make it look a little bit more realistic and believable. And now we have two particular pictures. Now, let's make these two guys look like they're standing on top of a garden. I drag them a little bit, and then I'm going to look for garden. Now, if you look for garden, there's plenty of photos of gardens. Now, I'll pick this one right here, and I want you to go ahead and just set this image as the background. Now, they look like they're standing on a garden, but this picture is not convincing because it doesn't have their shadows. Now, I can click this image first of the garden, try to edit it by just adding some adjustments, auto adjust. I'm going to also do the same thing with them both. I'm going to click on the first one, auto adjust, the second one, auto adjust. And what the auto adjustment tool is looking to do is trying to adjust them depending on where you're putting them, right? So it also is taking into consideration the background. That's why it has brightened the colors to make it seem like they're outside on the sun or exposed to the sun. I'm going to click the first image right here, duplicate, and take that duplicated element and go to Effects. Make sure you select it. Now choose Duotone and go over and select your Duotone as custom. Select the color for the shadows or the highlights as dark. And then you can exit the Duotone effect and go to Blur. And then in Blur, you can actually increase the intensity or decrease. Now, let me go back for a second because I must do it all over again. I'm going to go to Whole Image and just start playing around with the blur and exit. Now we have a shadow, but then we can go and just decrease this shadow back to maybe 40. I think 40 is good, but it would work. It would work perfectly. So there's a shadow now, And what you can do to this shadow is you can actually rotate it. You can rotate it down to this degree, and then you can take this and maybe place it like so, right? Now I'm going to try to make it look like it's connected to his feet somehow, like this maybe. And now that we have that particular shadow, I can position it to back, and now it looks like he has a shadow that is extending to the background. And of course, I can control where the shadow goes. So if you want to, you can make the shadow go to the other side, and even a little bit like this. And as you can see, it looks like there is a shadow in the background. Just try to work on making it convincing, because we need to make it look like this is perfect. You can grow the shadow if you want to as well. Make it a little bit bigger. Now let me just try to, I'm not going to cut anything from it. I'm just going to keep it as is, but I'm just going to try to make it a little bit more convincing. Now we have that taken care of. You can go over to the second image, and you can also do the same thing. You can duplicate the image, edit image, and you could go over here to Duotone. You can click on the custom effect, highlights, make it darker, go back, and then you can come over here to the blur effect. Well, I think I have to edit the image again. All right, again, and then go to blur. Make sure you go to whole image. Make sure you select a specific blur, exit, and now you can go and change this to 40 as well. And now you can just take this image and just rotate it just enough to make it the same as the other one. Place the foot or the feet here, and then position this to back. And now it seems like they both have a shadow, and they look like they are inserted into their own background. So this is just one of those tricks you can do inside of Canva. Hopefully you got the idea. Wishing you the best as always. Passive Income Gen Z signing out.